NorbCam with AD here live from the South Center AMC Theater, one of my favorite places to go to movies around here. But AD came all the way over from Yakima, which is how long? How far did you have to go to drive over here?
Close to 2 hours, 30 minutes.
2 hours, 30 minutes, because he asked me, he said, hey, any chance that we could watch this movie together? Because if you recall, it was about a year ago, wasn't it?
A year ago, we came here to watch Sound of Freedom,
which was by the same studio, Angel Studios. And so this movie was out. It's Angel Studios' Sound of Hope, the true story of Possum Trot. I knew nothing about this movie going into it. I think I saw maybe one trailer. But I was like, you know what? We can squeeze this in on Sunday. Let's do it. So we just got out of the movie, literally just out of here. You haven't even talked about this movie. So this is a on-the-spot movie review. And I'll say this much right off the bat. When we watched Sound of Freedom last year, I had no idea how much political commentary would be made about this movie, even on my own channel, but reading stuff later, which was shocking to me because I was like, I don't know what the big deal is.
Right?
So, but people love to turn things political anyway. I'm sure there will be stuff about this, which is why I didn't watch anything. I didn't read anything about the movie because I didn't want to go into it any kind of expectation or any kind of bias. Did you know a lot about the movie before you went in? Did you read a lot about it or know much?
Not entirely a whole lot, but enough that I wanted to check the movie out.
Okay. So 80s, in case you don't know, we go back to the year 2014? Is that how far ago? 15?
14, I found you.
About 10 years ago. About 10 years, right?
10 years that we found.
You were still in high school back then?
Yeah, it was around 2017 we really got to know each other.
Yeah, I remember online we used to talk a lot until we actually met first.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy's been a long time supporter of my channel. I appreciate it. So I'm glad we got to watch this movie. It's kind of like become our sort of annual thing now.
Yeah, it actually has.
Anyway, so to give you a quick synopsis for those of you, kind of try to make it as spoiler-free as possible, and then we'll get into our breakdown. So the story of Possum Trot, Sound of Hope, it's the true story, based on a true story. It takes place, I think, in the early 80s, maybe late 70s.
1997.
1997?
You missed that, actually.
Are you sure? Because they were driving all kinds of like 70s and 80s cars. Anyway, it seemed older to me, but all right. Anyway, period piece, many years ago, and it's the story of a community called Possum Trot, small town in Texas, led by a pastor and his wife who, her mother passes away and she goes into this depression, and then she has this spiritual reality saying that we need to adopt some of these kids who are in the foster system. So they adopt a couple of kids. Next thing you know, the whole community is doing it, and they start to save all these kids who are in the foster system. In the conflict of the story happens when they take on a very difficult girl by the name of Terry, and it kind of revolves around the strained relationship they have trying to raise her from a very abusive and difficult, challenging childhood. Oh, yeah. And as you can imagine, this has a happy ending, so things do kind of work out, and it shows the power of family, love, commitment, spirituality, faith, community, all that kind of stuff that kind of makes this true story a very inspirational one. I gotta admit, at the end, I had a couple tears in my eyes, which I don't normally do.
We both did.
And I think it's just because when you watch it, it does make you think about, especially as a parent, the challenges of raising kids, and in this case, raising not just your own kids, but somebody else's kids who've had their own challenges. But even it's hard enough to raise your own kids, and we've been through definitely our own challenges, and it made me think of those moments. I think that's why I kind of got a little teary-eyed, because just reminded me of the challenges of raising kids, particularly girls, in this day and age. So anyway, let's go to the review. We'll start with you, AD, since you're the guest here. What did you think of the movie?
Oh my goodness, there have been a lot of scenes where reminds me of my own childhood, particularly going through abuse myself. When I was a little kid, my mom married to a really abusive man, and it has, best way I can say it has definitely made a huge impact in my life, to put it bluntly.
So this movie kind of hit close to home for you
Yeah.
that way. But then look at you now, though. kind of like how the happy ending in the movie was. Here you are now, living on your own. You've been on your own, in your own place, living independently for what, 5 months?
Almost 5 months.
5
now.
months. So that's pretty awesome. So that's pretty cool. So I think everybody can get a little bit of take something from the movie that has an impact on, that kind of theme. So what would you rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10 stars? 10 being the best ever, 1 being the worst movie you've ever seen. How would you rate it?
I'm gonna give it a 10.
Whoa!
Literally
10. That is like high bar, man.
Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that has reminded me of my childhood, along with the abuse I endured and all that. That's all I can really say right now.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a lot more than I thought you would even talk about, but very brave of you to say so. I would say for me, I enjoyed the movie. I didn't really know what to expect going into it, and as I said, but I did like it. I thought the filmmaking, it's hard for me to watch a movie and not constantly be analyzing the cinematography, the editing, everything like that. It's always in the back of my mind, but I thought the story was well put together. You always keep in your mind that this is based on a true story. So when you hear that, of course, you're thinking, okay, this isn't just some made-up fantasy. This is actually something that happened. So that's always kind of kept like, okay, this is legit. At least elements of it have to be real. When the phone rings to get locked up, are we locked? Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Wait.
Hey, wait.
Sometimes we lose audio when I get a phone call that interrupts the thing, so I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. But we'll keep going as if you can. Yeah, I gotta keep going. I'd say the movie was well put together. I thought the acting, particularly by the mom and the pastor, her husband, was really exceptional. I really like that. And then Terry, who was the troubled child, did a really good job as well portraying her role.
Played by a British actress.
Is she British? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, would not have known that. She looks familiar, so I'm sure I've seen her at something else, but I couldn't recall her name. I don't remember any of the actors' names, actually, but you can look that up. So, well done. I thought it was, the story was told very competently. Acting was good, especially as those characters I mentioned, and it, again, had an emotional, satisfying ending that, again, moved me to tears myself. So I would give it 8 out of 10. I don't give 10s lightly, so don't ever expect me to give a 10 unless it blows my brains out like, oh my God, the greatest movie I've ever seen. So that's a pretty high mark, to be honest with you. So anyway, that's it. So if you ever get a chance there's a lot of movies out there, but if you want something that's just, good, feel good, movie, go check it out. After this, I'm going to go read all the online stuff and see all the conspiracy theories and political stuff that I'm sure people have said about this film, which, really is not a big part of it. But
by the way, I almost did not come to this movie because yesterday I got hit severely by food poisoning.
Yeah, you almost didn't. Sound like you texted me last night and said you had food poisoning, don't know if you're going to be able to make it. Turns out it was okay this morning, so made the trek over, so I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, it was horrible, dude. I went to Sabbath church yesterday, the Seventh-day Adventist church, and literally threw up in front of people, in front of the congregation. But I managed to hold it in before I went into the toilet and just...
Oh, man.
It was horrible, dude.
I know that feeling. I've had times where I felt like throwing up in the middle of a very not convenient situation, and it's never good. You just hope you can run to a toilet fast enough. But glad you made it, though, man. Enjoyed it. It's great that we can do it again. All right, we'll talk to y'all later. Go Hawks, baby.
Go Hawks.